We've been hired, Mr. Stark.
And welcome to another exciting episode of the KLIQ Nation's Comic Book Chronicles. I am your host, Tim D-O-double-G. And I'm joined by the man behind the sound effects at Agent_70 on Twitter.
What's up, everybody?
We also have at RightyCat on Twitter here.
From Zeke, y'all.
And last but not least, join us for a second week in a row at Devon Glum on Twitter. And remember, we are the KLIQ Nation, and go to our website, thekliqnation.com, where you can find previous episodes of the Comic Book Chronicles and comic book news. On the homepage, we have links to our social media accounts. You can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Google+, and also make sure to subscribe to the podcast by going to iTunes, Stitcher Radio, YouTube, on iTunes Radio as well. What did I say? iTunes Radio?
Yeah.
I meant TuneIn Radio.
Yeah, we're not there to be on iTunes Radio yet.
Yeah, I was like, I finished that sentence and I sat there. I was like, wait, that didn't sound right. And we are also a part of the CSPN media conglomerate of podcasts. Go to cspn.us. Do it today. And while you're there, you can buy some Comic Book Chronicles merchandise by going to shop.cspn.us. And if you're talking comic books online on social media, join the conversation by using the hashtags Comic Book Chronicles or CBChron. And we record live every Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. You can watch every Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time's episode by going to thekliqnation.com/live. Alrighty then. So there was a big book this week from DC Comics. That would be the that would be the Dark Knight's Metal #1 from the Batman creative team of Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo. And and I guess I didn't mention our other co-host, PCN_Dirt, is not here tonight. Obviously, he's having some fun in St. Louis, I believe.
Yep, probably getting ready for the eclipse.
Remember to go to his website as well, and that's popculturenetwork.com. I remembered he's not here, so I need to get the covers going. So while I do that, to show off with Dark Knight's Metal, where evils of the dark multiverse will be invading the, I guess, prime DC. It's a good way to describe it. The issue kicks things off right away with the Justice League, or actually it's Mongols War World, where they assemble Voltron.
Ah! I was going to ring the spoiler bell when we got to that part, but, you know, it's a little late. And it's kind of been out there.
Yeah, it's in the previews. I was gonna say maybe I missed an issue. Like, when did they all of a sudden get captured and put into the arena on Warworld? When did this happen? Was this in one of the preview issues I missed? It just starts like that?
Yeah.
They just throw you in the middle of a event
just
happening.
checking.
That just proves how much they care about. They think about Mongol, like he's just the opening fodder.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of a throwaway.
Yeah, so there was no story you missed. Straight into the action.
Okay. Right. So
I've got the cover up now.
So Tim, you're kind of breaking up.
Yeah, you might want to check your connection.
I'll do that. Someone else get to speaking.
Yeah, I was gonna say in the meantime, as Tim Dog 98 was saying, we find the Justice League, on Warworld in the and basically hampered somewhat by armor that Mongol has seen fit to have fastened to them, so that their capabilities are not at their peak. So they're basically fighting at 50% capacity, roughly, and they're thrown into the pit. And Toyman is, I guess, a pawn of Mongol at this point, and Mongol, asked him to, set up a big challenge for the Justice League. And what ends up happening is, spoiler alert again, Toyman does his best to turn the tables on Mongol, and as Tim mentioned earlier, the Justice League find a way to form their own version of Voltron, including a shout out to the Teen Titans cartoon.
Yeah.
So, that part I liked. This, like the opening salvo of this issue was good. It was a lot of fun, reading the homage to Voltron and everything up to that point. But once, in my, I guess in my, not nearly as, in my experience as a somewhat not experienced DC reader, once we got past that and started delving into the nth metal stuff that is the basis of the storyline, I kind of lost interest. It was kind of like a great opening action sequence, but then we get to this point and it's a lot of setup. And I'm only somewhat interested in how this story plays out, but it's not a bad it's not a bad first issue for this.
Felt like they, if you were a longtime reader of DC comics and DC stories of the past, you'd appreciate a lot of the stuff they did. Go and actually jumped into the whole Black Hawks and what's Hawk Girl's name?
Sierra.
Kendra.
Kendra. Yeah, Kendra. Yeah.
Because I had no. I mean, I enjoyed it. I just read it as someone who had not too much of a reference for the people, like the Black Hawks and the history with them. But I know we got like glimpses of, is it Elongated Man that was in the shell?
No, it's Plastic.
No, it's Plastic
Man. Yeah, whichever one that is.
Yeah, well, I have one question though. How come Flash referenced Aquaman's hook hand? I thought the hook hand was kind of like erased with the whole New 52 rebirth crap.
I thought it was.
It's like when they were fighting the
Sound,
robots.
by the way.
Flash, like, I wish you still had your hook hand. You would be more helpful at that time.
I saw that. I kind of let it slide. I thought it was just like an Easter egg for some of the old school readers.
Okay.
So I sort of kind of dismissed it out of hand.
And the thing where they had Red Tornado and with the challenges of the unknown and those other older teams is kind of interesting as well. don't know what role that's how's it play out later on in future issues.
It
So no,
sounds
he was
like
like
an
some kind
episode
of
of Justice
element
League.
to it first. Sorry, what was that?
No, I'm sorry. No, this sounds like an episode of Justice League.
Oh yeah, the Unlimited, right? The good cartoon.
Yeah. Indeed.
It definitely does. But I didn't realize that this was the. I don't know. I guess I wish Dirt were here, unless our esteemed guest Dale or Von Gloom can enlighten. I'm not sure if this is the first appearance of Red Tornado and the Challengers of the Unknown, and I guess those are the primary characters who were probably making their first primary appearances. Is this their first prime? Is this the first appearance for those characters here in this iteration of the DC universe?
I believe so, because I haven't really seen him in anything else besides Earth 2, where they had the female Red Tornado, which was Lois Lane. I haven't seen him
Oh
at
yeah,
all.
right. In the Earth 2 books.
Okay.
It's
And
interesting
another
that we're gonna
question
get.
is,
I was gonna say
how did
it's
Mongo know
interesting.
about Hero anyway? The new toy man. That's another weird thing I found weird, that he even knew about the newest toy man, and not the original kid with the creepy doll mask toy man.
There's been a couple of toy men or toy men in the New 52, right?
Yeah,
Because I know
but I
one
figured
was
he'd
in
get the
Batman,
evil one.
Superman.
Yeah, he made that giant mecha that was half Batman, half Superman.
Yeah, Brett Booth drew that. I feel like.
I thought it
How
was
long ago was
Ed
that?
McGuinness.
That was like a million years ago.
Yeah, it was. It was.
That's pre New 52, right?
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
I think it also forged what's his name, Tim Drake and Connor Kent as well.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, so what did you guys think of the I guess the climax of this book, which was the I guess the quest that Batman is on to investigate what's up with this nth metal, and then the cliffhanger splash page at the end. What do you guys think of that? Because
I hadn't read the book the person had come from, so I didn't have no idea who that person was.
Oh, Morpheus. He's from Vertigo. He's Sandman.
Yeah,
I rang the spoiler bell, people. You can't argue with me now on this one.
But Bleeding Cool already spoiled it for everybody anyway, so
Yeah, but there's
you
people.
don't have to worry about it.
There's people out there that don't know. So, yeah, that didn't have much of an effect on me. Similar to Tim Dogg's perspective. So,
but yeah, what did y'all think about it?
Didn't really have any impact. So I wasn't really a Vertigo reader when I was younger, so it didn't really matter to me.
Yeah. All right. So that's
nothing.
yeah. I was about to say I don't know if Roddy read it, so I'd love to get Dirt's take on this.
Yep. We have to maybe we'll ask him about it next week.
Yep.
Yeah. If you're curious as to how that Sandman character got into Dark Metal Knights, there's an article out there from Sci-Fi and probably other places about it. And if you're checking out the show notes, which I totally forgot to, well, no, it's in the tweet that I put out, but that's not going to help anybody later on.
All right.
So that's Dark Knights Metal #1.
Do you want to follow up with the kind of the other big DC book out this week?
We can.
All right. So I'm referring to Batman 29. I don't know if anyone else thought the same.
Touched on Trinity.
I said the other big book. Oh no!
Ouch.
Listen.
Fields.
Yeah, I was about to say I know that at one point 3/4 of the normal panel was big on the Trinity book, so
I
But it
stayed
kinda
true.
died
Anyway,
down.
Batman 29.
All right, so I'm gonna hit the spoiler bell because I'm gonna get into some spoilerific stuff here. One moment. So to a certain extent, the cover actually does a pretty adequate job of at least establishing what the premise of this issue is, which is the two factions in the war of jokes and riddles facing off. But what it doesn't portray is the actual battlefield or playing field that they would be on. What it turns out is Alfred has done his level best to create how many course dinner? Is it 8 or 9? Something like that. It's like a multiple course dinner over which the two sides will try to hash things out with the aid of Batman. I mean Bruce Wayne, trying to establish grounds for either a peace accord or some gathering intel for his alter ego Batman to try to neutralize one side or the other so that the war can end. And like a lot of business, it's done over food, and that's that was pretty interesting.
Definitely a creative way of bringing two sides together and not have it be Batman in the middle, but Bruce Wayne.
Sure.
And him being able to keep both sides from tearing each other apart.
The thing I find odd is why would anybody work for the Joker anyways? He's a wild card. You can't really trust the dude. He's the ultimate horrible boss.
Can't trust it.
That's funny. But it's always interesting to see, the lines that get drawn and who's on whose side, because you look at least in the opening splash page that establishes who's sitting where in this dining room. You have Mr. Freeze and the Penguin on the Joker side, and you have Two-Face and Poison Ivy and Killer Croc on the Riddler side. So it's an interesting
array.
Wonder
how much thought went into deciding who's going to be on whose side.
Kind of like what Von Gloom was saying, there's got to be some reasoning behind it, in terms of who would actually side with the craziest guy,
Yeah.
Who's considered the craziest guy?
Yeah,
but I guess Deathstroke is like immortal, so he doesn't have to worry about being betrayed by the Joker. But everybody else, they kind of have to worry about him.
Yeah. I kind of like the first knock joke. Knock knock, who's there? Europe who? I'm sorry. It's juvenile.
Get up.
So funny.
And then Batman, and then at the end we find out Bruce or Batman staged this whole thing, this dinner, to sort of feel out both sides and see who had the better chance of actually winning the battle of jokes and riddles. The support to that person.
Yeah. And
like some sort of contest of champions.
Yeah.
Kinda. At the end of the day, at the end of this issue, we are not given Batman's final decision. That's left for the next issue.
And we also don't get a look at present day Bruce and Selena Kyle.
That's true.
Like we had previous issues.
I thought there was something with our preview copy.
I did too. Because it just ended. And I was like, oh, wait, what?
Exactly. I'm like, scroll. Wait, there's no more. What's going on? I didn't have a chance.
Perhaps there was, but
yeah. Like, did you get your physical copy this week?
I haven't gotten physical copies of anything in a while.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I need to email them about that. I keep going back and forth. Like, since I moved, I know it has to do with my address changing, but I gave them my new address. But like, part of me is like kind of glad I'm not getting the physical stuff as far as storage space.
Yeah.
Cool. Did it so completely, Tim.
I mean, that's kind of the way I'm going. I will admit, part of me wanted to get a physical, hold a copy of Mr. Miracle a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, it was pretty sweet.
And it sold out all around New York. So
Yeah, I heard that. So I was like, oh, I need to go see if I can find a copy.
So wait, that was last week.
Yep.
Yeah, last week. But Batman. So it was a quiet issue, but still a lot of tension of this dinner, and I guess Tom King got to flex his muscles and show what a 7-course meal looks like.
Right. Or 9
or consists of.
Yeah. It was a nice, interlude, with the, but still, displaying all of the major players, without, having it be a Kite Man issue. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, all right.
The question I have, like, would Batman even side with the Joker, considering their history? Joker killed Jason Todd and crippled Barbara Gordon and tortured her and all the crap he's done in the past. Why would Batman even throw his allegiance with him anyway?
But this probably takes place before he kills Jason Todd. Because
is that far back?
This is after year 1 or 0 year. I mean, when he just became.
People look like they were in the recent iterations. That's why I was kind of thrown off. I wasn't really sure where it takes place time-wise, the way that some of the characters looked.
This is one of those. It's best that we don't think about when this took place.
Okay.
I've lost track of when things are happening in the DC universe. I'm not as in tune with it, so I side with Tim on this one. That because this is told in flashback, I think it's implied that it's been at least a year or two in the past. So who knows where all those events fall?
Oh yeah, with the whole New 52 and him only being Batman for 5 years and all that crap.
Right. So
they realized that was a mistake.
Yeah, because it compresses way too much history. So like they could have had him be like a 20-something-year-old Batman, and he could have had like 10 years of adventures already. So
that means he would be 30 and Dick Grayson would have been like 20 or something then, I guess.
No, I mean when he first started. No, but when I guess what the timeline that is always going to be kind of the eternal timeline for me is the animated series timeline. Where,
that was good. That was great.
Right, where Bruce is kind of like in his mid to late 20s when he first meets Dick Grayson when he's a teen.
Yeah.
When he's like an early teen or preteen, kind of like 13, 14, something like that. So that doesn't make the age gap as drastic,
It was kind of creepy when he hooks up with Barbara Gordon later on. It kind of seems a little bit cringy.
Yeah, like I said, it's who knows. But I tend to stick with that particular timeline that has Dick Grayson and Barbara Gordon roughly the same age. So, roughly. I think she's a little older in the animated series, but
you seem like that, maybe a year or two older than Dick.
Yeah, something like that. So, all right. Anyone else have any other DC stuff? I know that Roddy Cat was talking about Trinity.
Let's hear it.
That one? Sure.
I think I read it too, but I forgot about it. Was it the demon stuff?
How's that?
Better.
Cool. So, yes, this is basically kind of coming off of the annual. Because, this is what I have in my notes. One Trinity calls another Trinity because they were attacked by another possessed Trinity, and one of the possessed really has already had it out for one of the Trinity.
Okay.
That just clears up everything.
No, let's talk about the Dark Trinity, which is Jason Todd, Bizarro, and I think Artemis. And they possess Jason Todd, but Jason Todd allowed the possession because he wants to kill Bruce Wayne for some reason.
He wants to kill Batman. Well, I guess he's still kind of holding a grudge, kind of, even though supposedly he had kind of gotten over that in last couple of years.
Yeah, the whole being beaten by a crowbar his mom's a crackhead or something, sold him out and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, so basically what happens is Cersei and Ra's al Ghul, or Ra's al Ghul, whichever you choose. We're not gonna split hairs on that one, but sent out to possess Red Hood and the Outlaws to go after the Trinity, and this takes place after. Just that, like I said, the death takes place after Trinity Annual because they mention a couple of things that happened in said annual when Jason Blood tried to lead the team to some Pandora pits, and that whole thing went sideways, but it ended. So we pretty much cut in after something that was done off screen. Well, actually, this shows up later on in the issue, I should say, where like I said, Red Hood and the Outlaws was following the tip. They find Cersei and Ra's al Ghul, who end up possessing them by said Lazarus pits, and send them after the Trinity. The Trinity fight them at some point, captures Red Hood, and have him capture, and then call for Constantine, Zatanna, and Deadman to try to help them out with this. Zatanna and Deadman end up being captured, swallowed actually by possessed Red Hood, and which leaves Constantine to try to save the day. And Constantine is Constantine always, and he's hesitant, and as he tends to, ends up helping, and then the rest of the outlaws come. The possessed outlaws come and fight the Trinity, freeing Red Hood, and then Red Hood goes after Batman. And that's pretty much where after our Trinity ends up enacting their plan. as we get a message from One Dirt. But it was it's worth pointing out that Man and Pole did not do this issue, nor art nor story. So this starts another arc, but the art was still clean, and like I said, I'm still enjoying the story. So
yeah, kind of miss Man and Pole's artwork on Trinity. I kind of miss Man and Pole's artwork on Trinity. It's like my biggest draw to even read it in the first place.
That's why.
No, he's going to be back though, isn't he? I mean, I think he's just taking a break.
He did the last arc, right?
Yeah. He's been up. He's been on it until this one.
Okay.
So, like I said, I don't know if this is just an art where he's just taking a break, or
was this Rob Williams' first issue?
Yes.
Okay. Busy man. Because he got Suicide Squad, he jumped on here. He's taken over Action Comics for a bit, I think, too. So yeah. Was that everything for Trinity?
Yep, that's it. 3 Trinities, no waiting.
Hold on.
Oh, stop it. This is probably the best DC book out there.
No, I'll say that's Nightwing. I enjoy that book more than anything else.
I was being facetious because I don't
caught
read
up on that so bad.
DC books.
You were saying, Tim?
I need to get caught up on Nightwing so bad.
I hear it's good. Yeah,
it's like 3 or 4.
Consistently good.
It's like 3 or 4 DC books I need to get caught up on: Nightwing, Detective Comics, Green Arrow, and Suicide Squad. Definitely. Oh, and Deathstroke.
Oh yeah, that's surprisingly good. But it's Christopher Priest, right? Who's writing it?
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But I've got another DC book as I race to get the cover going. Super Sons number 7. This is where we need someone with the DC knowledge to help me out with the villains here. The villain here, I don't know. I'm assuming it's a villain from the past.
Yeah, one of those old school ones, like maybe even Kirby era, the Faceless Hunter guy, and can't remember the other 3, but they're old. They're old villains though. They're not anybody created in the last 20 years.
Yeah, you're more familiar with them. So, but last issue, the one person that can mess with time ended up aging Robin into an old man, which makes for some comedy as
He had a bathroom scene.
yeah, as he has old man bathroom problems.
Oh no.
That just sounds like another book, Old Man Robin.
Oh.
And then from there, the Titans assemble to go take on the bad guys, and we get this, of course, pre Robin being aged. He wouldn't let Superboy join because he wasn't officially a teenager. He's too young. But
isn't he like only 12 though?
Yeah, something like that. But since they need all the help they can get, they let Superboy tag along, and he actually worked well with the team. Him and Starfire made a good team, taking on the bad guys. They get Superboy aged back to his proper self, but yeah. So all things come to an end. He still won't let Superboy join because he's a teen, and a new threat entered, like through a portal or something at the end.
Yeah.
So we have to see what that's about.
While they were arguing about the defeated villain. Yeah.
What I love about this book is, one, Jorge Jimenez's art with the colorist. I'm assuming the name is the Sanchez on the cover, and Tomasi's writing. Like, they're the Superboy and Robin are the perfect comedic duo, just because of how deadpan Robin is.
They're kind of like their fathers in a way.
Yeah,
like
compared to Superboy. And Jimenez has his way of like drawing these facial expressions for both of them that are great.
Yeah, it's definitely manga influenced and anime influenced, but it's still, recognizably, like a superhero style. So it's a nice little style for the young, forget Teen Titans. Like these are like, prepubescent Titans. So, this is we're talking about like really young characters, and the style really fits them well.
Yep. There's certain series I'm going to enjoy less once, like the creative teams, aka the artists, like start cycling through.
Sure.
Super Sons will be one. Defenders with Dave Marquez will be another. Be sad days for me. So this is probably my click of the week, by the way.
What?
Yeah.
No kidding.
Wow.
Did anybody read that Justice League 27 book?
No,
I did not get to it. I downloaded it to my iPad earlier today, but didn't get to read it.
Well, the interesting thing is they kind of implied that Cyborg's son's mother is a mother box.
Cyborg has a son?
Yeah, the kid from the future came back, so he has a son named Cube.
I'm like, wait a second, hold on.
And not Rubik.
I'm like, when did this happen? So 9
Last
months ago?
issue.
What? Okay.
Yeah, I was about to say. Yeah.
I'm guessing, the mother box somehow took some of his DNA and made a baby out of it, or I'm assuming that's how it happened.
That's taking out of wedlock to an extreme. But anyway. Oh man.
And they revealed that that Superboy kid is actually Wonder Woman's son, and Clark just adopted him. He's not Superman's son at all, but he just raised him.
Oh, so he's not Kryptonian, half Kryptonian.
No, he's Wonder Woman's kid. The father's still unknown. Diana abandoned him because he's a boy, not a girl. Because the whole Amazonian thing. So she let him at Clark's doorstep, and Clark raised him. He pretty much tagged along with Damian and John when he's growing up.
Oh, so they do reference Damian and John?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I need to read this then.
in future Aquaman comes and kicks Batman's butt badly. Wasn't even. It was just pathetic the way Batman got beat up so badly by Aquaman. I mean,
now we know who won in the fight.
Aquaman.
What's the deal with the 2 Green Lanterns? Did they reveal that?
Oh, they're twins, and somehow they inherit to the whole emotion spectrum. So when they're sad, they become yellow. When they're angry, they become red. When they have willpower, they become green. So like the whole spectrum is theirs to control.
There's a Wonder Twins joke in there somewhere, but I'm gonna leave that one alone.
No.
And Cruz was named after Barry's mother, so her name is Nora Allen.
All right.
Okay.
Oh, so she's not wait.
Yeah, so all 3 kids are Flash and Jessica Cruz's kids. So I think
All
Nora's the oldest, the speedster is the oldest, and the other 2 are the youngest.
What other 2? The twins?
Yeah, twins. They're like the youngest kids.
Oh.
And
whatever
Mira
happened to-
respects her daughter. What was that?
Well, I was about to say, whatever happened to Barry's actual kids? Did they get written out at some point?
Yeah, they did. So there's no Impulse right now.
Right.
Or Accelerate, that chick from the Legion of Superheroes. I think she was black,
His daughter.
but she's a speedster.
Oh, wait.
Bart's cousin. So I think all those kids are out of existence now, thanks to New 52 and other stuff. But it's kind of weird because if the white Wally is around, that means there's a chance that somehow his kids could still come back or be in existence. I'm guessing.
Possibly. I don't know. This whole thing's weird.
Any more DC? Anybody?
Before we get off that, and from the chat, one Martian Cat, hello Cat, asks if Suicide Squad worth the read, and she was wondering about that.
It is.
Doug chimed in.
Yeah, it's enjoyable. It's decent.
Very
Okay.
good.
And Doug chimes in the chat, says it wasn't great, but there's much worse out there. If you're a fan of any of the characters, give it a shot. But if you want to read some random DC, try Aquaman or Red Hood. So.
Oh yeah,
totally
Red Hood and the
fun.
Outlaws. I do like that, though I'm on like an issue behind. And
Aquaman's pretty good too.
Aquaman. I want to get back on Aquaman since they changed artists.
Yeah, that guy whose name I can't pronounce is pretty good. What's his name?
Yeah.
Stefani, whatever. I don't know what his name is, but he's a good artist.
Not even attempting to pronounce it.
All right. Okay, now we can move right along.
And I'm done.
Oh wait,
for...
you know what? I do actually have another DC. I totally forgot about this. But I also could have saved this for rapid fire though. Which you know what? I will.
You could if you want. All right.
Yeah, I will.
All right. So we move on to the other publisher in the big 2. Did anyone read any of the Generations books out this week specifically? Well, I think there's only one, Generations Wolverine.
Yeah, it's Wolverine. I read that.
Anybody else?
Wolverine book with ninjas.
I liked it. I liked it because it made a lot of, I hate to say this, common sense, and that's lacking in the real world and in the comic world.
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean? Like it was just kind of like, you know what, this is exactly what would happen if there was a little bit of a time jump and all of a sudden, you know, and I'm only gonna mildly spoil this, ring the bell anyway. But this is exactly what would happen if future semi-daughter of Wolverine goes back in time to meet, you know, a Wolverine who, based on the in-jokes and the Easter eggs in this, is probably, you know, maybe somewhere in the late 80s in this.
Yeah, it seems like it.
Because of the references that were made in the issue. So if you think about it, he's talking about his adopted daughter Akiko, and and Mariko's still alive, and What was kind of disturbing to me was that, you know, it was kind of a fatalistic Wolverine in this, and I don't ever remember reading a Wolverine that was that fatalistic, like who thought he was getting ready to bite the big one. And
No, but was he like that like during his whole patch run?
Very Oatman Logan-ish, or Logan from the movie.
back. I mean, what Von Gloom is referencing is, you know, like when he's talking about Patch, we're talking about like Wolverine #1, you know, like going all the way back to the inception of the Patch alter ego, you know.
Yeah, was he like he was
going
in Madripoor?
right when he first started going to Madripoor. Maybe
he was oppressed and got suicidal during that time. So that was like right after his wife died and stuff. Because
before. Well, no, we're talking about Mariko. No,
wasn't he patched after she died, or was it before she died?
Well before. He might have been down and out because she broke the wedding off, but that was still, you know, earlier than this, I think.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah, my timeline's confused.
No, it's fine because she gets killed. No real spoilers here. She gets killed by poison, by blowfish toxin. I can't believe I remember this.
And she asked him to release her, right?
Correct. And that was well into that Wolverine solo series run. That was like a good 50, 60, 70 issues in.
It was? Because I thought okay, so that's when Rogue first joined. He kind of hated her guts still.
No.
That time?
No, I was about to say Mariko's alive for a long time after that. So
okay.
Yep. So, but you know, yeah, I was about to say. So, like, getting back to this issue, you know, you can kind of sense when this particular interaction would happen as a result of the vanishing. And what I liked about this is that, you know, like I was saying earlier, you know, it was kind of just a common sense interaction between these two characters, and everything from the beginning to the end just made sense when you think about how these characters would interact given the circumstances. And one of the things that I liked, and I'm trying to pull up the issue, forgive me folks for not having my physical copies this week. I didn't have a chance to go to the shop. But one thing that Wolverine says to Laura is that, you know, she's hesitant to cause any effects, any ill effects to the time stream as a result of the butterfly effect. So what Wolverine basically says is, hey, if you're who I think you are, then dealing with grief through anger runs in the family. I'm like, you know what? That makes a lot of sense. You know, him coming back with that. That's the Wolverine that I grew up reading. You know, even though he was, you know, Berserker Barrage X guy, that's still, you know, he was still kind of like that conflicted, you know, samurai warrior, you know, the typical Ronin. So, you know, that made a lot of sense to me. The way this issue read just made sense to me. So I really appreciated it. It was one of the better Generations books.
And I like the fact that Laura called him dad, because like she pretty much is his daughter. It's his DNA combined with that lab scientist DNA. So it's pretty much his daughter, not his clone. It's his daughter.
Pretty much.
Never got the whole partial clone thing. If they still use his DNA to fertilize an egg, that's his kid. So I'm glad that she called him dad.
Right, and they had been working towards that before he died. You know, before they encased him in adamantium. And you know, I guess this is just some more unresolved issues as a result. So, and it's also a jumping off point into, I guess, the 25th issue of All New Wolverine, which is what they tease at the end of the issue.
But the funny thing, didn't the last issue of Wolverine end with her little sister becoming a brood queen or something?
I don't know. I don't keep up with it.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
And also Dackett at the very end, like in the preview cover, but the last thing that happened was like the brood are on Earth. The Guardians are helping her fight them. And she got infected, her little sister, whatever the girl's name is, with the 2 claws, got infected with the brood queen embryo. So now she's like the new brood queen.
Which is odd because I thought those little clones had the healing factor too, and they would.
Yeah, that's what threw me off as well. Yeah.
I mean, I'll have to go back. Now you're piquing my interest and making me go back. I just wanted to, you know, it's funny that just real quick before we move on, Roddy Cat was mentioning earlier that there's a couple of ways to pronounce a Ra's al Ghul or Ra's al Ghul depending on what era you grew up in and where you're getting your source material. We've actually been told that it's pronounced Dakin by the people over at Marvel. I think that was
Dakin?
Yep, not kidding. Like whatchamacallit? Like there's a rock group or something that sounds like that. So yeah, it's actually
there
Dakin.
was.
So
and
How would
Dakin
Japanese
will
person
be
pronounce it though?
Dakin will be appearing in the Marvel Legacy, like a story arc. Whenever it begins.
He is?
Yeah, they're gonna work together. Some other Wolverine hybrid.
Oh yeah,
something come after the two of them.
But the thing I'm wondering about, how did Dakin get back his arm? Wasn't it cut off during the Wolverine's miniseries and Sinister took away his healing factor?
you got me?
Wolverine around him?
Blame Secret Empire or Secret Wars.
Oh yeah, undid everything, yeah. And that's how
Anything
Fixer
making me brought
came
back
back
now.
to life, yeah.
All right.
Take your chicken from Dakin.
Okay, who's got another Marvel book here?
Oh, man.
Anybody read Spider-Man 2? I mean Spider-Man 2?
Yes. Yes.
So what do you guys
I
think of
haven't
the
got
other
to it yet.
Miles?
Anyone else read it before we go on?
No.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I guess what we'll try to do is not spoil it too heavily. Although to be honest, not much happens in this issue.
Typical
So
Bendis book.
Go figure.
It is
Bendis
absolutely
book that doesn't go anywhere,
it is
or at
absolutely
least a single issue.
right. Right. It is so Bendis. So what Von Gloom was getting, what was kind of referring to, really only happens at the end of the issue.
Yeah.
In terms of what we're supposed to think of the 616 miles, what we have to kind of trudge through to get there is the ultimate taskmaster, kind of laying waste to Spider-Man squared. And, when we finally finish this particular dust up, that we're left with the two Spideys, cleaning up after themselves and just kind of twiddling their thumbs. Miles, tries to get it on with some chick, and we run into a former classmate of Peter Parker's, who was running a private detective agency, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
And there's a couple of nice scenes. Those are arguably the best scenes in this issue, is dealing with Peter's former classmate. And we finally end up with a minor cameo appearance, basically, of the 616 Miles towards the end of the issue, as he's figuring out that there's someone else who's got spider powers, that's kind of getting in his way. And that's where we leave off. And to address Von Gloom's question, what do we think of him? I don't have much to base an answer on. So, I'll have to wait till at least issue number 3, hopefully, to have a basis to form an opinion.
Seeing how it's a Bendis book, you might wait to the very end to form an opinion about it.
Exactly. So real
Another quick
Oh, no, go ahead. Before I forget what I was going to say, well, the one thing that I thought of when I was reading this is, considering that Peter Parker's high school class produced Agent Venom. Oh, I got an echo. I hear an echo. Produced Agent Venom, a particular private investigator that we're talking about here, Spider-Man, of course, and now Cindy Moon. I was wondering if Cindy Moon has yet to interact with one private investigator that we're referencing here.
That would be a good interaction, though. Yeah, that'll be interesting. Yeah.
Right? Like, has that happened yet? Anybody? Bueller?
I don't think so, because Cindy's pretty much been isolated. The only person she spoke to was like Mockingbird and Black Cat.
Right, and the Spider-Verse. Right, in the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, like the Spider-Woman.
Yeah. Shout out to Dakota North.
Spider-Gwen.
Right.
Yeah.
But I was referring that I was including her in the Spider Women crossover. You know, it's her, Jessica, Drew.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So, you know, it's interesting. Like, I wonder because that would be a prime crossover right there. You know, having you know, these two female characters from Peter Parker's past who aren't Gwen Stacy or Mary Jane Watson, right?
Yeah, isn't Moon supposed to be like his destined Spider-Verse mate or something? If they hook up, the ultimate baby.
Like anytime they get around each other, their hormones kind of
Right, their pheromone
drive.
interacting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, like I said, it's interesting to, you know, like once I was reminded of Peter and this particular private investigator's common background, I was like, wait, you know, there's still another character from that, you know, high school class.
And I keep forgetting that was actually in this universe because I thought that was Ultimate Universe where that was the case. But they now I do remember
was his clone, right? In Ultimate one, he was like his clone.
I don't even remember.
Cindy?
Well, Jessica Drew, wasn't she like Spider-Man's clone in Ultimate?
Yeah. The red and the white costume. Yeah, she was a clone.
And I totally forgot. I don't know why we're not even saying this character's name. But
I'll spoil it. I didn't want to completely spoil it because I know
it's not really a spoiler. It's freaking Bendis. How many times has he used this character in
I'll let
Jessica Drew.
Oh, she didn't even let me ring the bell.
Whatever.
It's not Jessica Drew.
Jessica Jones.
That's what I said. I was gonna let it go. All right. Anyway.
She shows up in Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, see, look what you guys did.
Again, it's a Bendis book. What is? I mean, come on. It's not like it's that big of a.
Miles showed up in Defenders last week, so
that's true.
Yeah, you're right.
Which I finally read over the weekend.
If the Oz serum makes people immortal, is Miles immortal too? Because remember, Green Goblin can't die. The Ultimate one couldn't die. Ultimate Peter Parker came back to life as well. So is Miles immortal as well?
Ooh,
good question.
I don't know. Yeah,
because they implied that everybody who has Oz in them can't die permanently. That's since he got the same spider. I wonder if he's immortal as well.
Y'all gonna make me read this, aren't you?
All right. What's next? Oh, President Bartlett, let it. You know.
What's next?
There you go.
How about X-Men Blue?
There we go.
Anybody read that?
I'm out on that.
Yet.
Pretty much Havoc and Polaris have their ex-lovers spat. Emma's still nuts. She tries to make young Scott into her old Scott. Jean Grey frees them, and they go home to Magneto, and Polaris and that Briar lady are the new teachers. And Cap's angry at Magneto because of the X-Men interfering in his plans. Then we find out that Sinister and Miss Sinister, that is, and Bastion played a role in New Tian, whatever you call it, the mutant homeland. They have vested interest in that whole thing going on.
Actually, sounds kind of interesting.
Yeah, is it Bunn writing it right now? Colin
Yes.
Bunn?
No, yeah, he does Blue.
Yeah, it's interesting.
He's
special
a big
angles
X-Men
to
fan.
weaving into it.
Okay. See if I can get caught up on that over the weekend.
It's worth the read.
Yeah. I'm up to date. I just haven't read that issue yet.
Anybody read Totally Awesome Hulk?
No, I'm actually kind of waiting for the storyline to end. I hate to say it.
Feels like I've been dragging.
Doomsday. He can remind me of Doomsday because he's gray skinned and he has spikes coming out of his body.
Oh, okay.
The Hulk Marine guy.
This would probably be the one to get because this is in this the
last issue?
Yeah, the final issue.
Okay. Maybe I'll circle back and read it. We'll see.
I did a binge of the first. How many parts was this?
Wasn't it like 9 or 10? It felt really long.
Let's see. Oh, it just says conclusion. Boo. So cover to see.
Because they had those two separate issues.
I
think the Alpha and the Omega one. Then they had like 4 Weapon X issues and 4 Ultimate issues. So it's like about 10 issues. I mean, not Ultimate, 4 Hulk issues, about 10 altogether, I guess.
A couple weekends ago, I binged like 2 or 3 parts of it. The first like 3 parts. So now I have to finish whatever the remaining ones.
All right.
Are we in rapid fire?
Yes. Rapid fire. I will announce rapid fire. There we go.
Well, Iron Man number 10.
Okay.
10. So last issue, Riri defeated the Lucia von Bardas character who had taken over Latveria. So since he defeated her, she is now Riri, aka Ironheart, is the new ruler of Latveria. So she gets paid a visit by S.H.I.E.L.D. and Sharon Carter, where we get the recap of how she became the new ruler. And in her short time as the person in charge, she's gone about feeding people and trying to help the sick and needy. And she wants to continue helping them. But she realizes she's in no state to lead a country as a college-aged young teen.
I thought she was 15.
That's right. Yeah, but she's in college. Okay. I was like, I feel like she's young, but in college.
She was, but she dropped out.
Yeah. So a teenage girl that happens to be in college because of her intellect.
Yeah, isn't she the same age as Nadia, Hank Pym's daughter? Something like that? They're on the same age?
Close. I don't know if they're the same age. I'm not sure.
Got me.
But Daisy Johnson and some S.H.I.E.L.D. agents visit her mother in Chicago while all this is going on, and they start asking her was she aware her daughter was gonna overthrow a country, and is their home now Latvian embassy?
So is this Family Guy episode with Pretoria now?
What was that?
The Family Guy episode with Pretoria, where Peter had his own homeland. He turned his house into a foreign country, and he took over Joe Swanson's pool.
That may be a first on the Comic Book Chronicles Family Guy reference. That may be a first in 4 years of running the show, right?
Yeah.
It sounds just like it, Pretoria.
So this cover is kind of deceiving because it shows like Riri tangled up because of AI Tony Stark. So we don't really get that until like the final page where like she's back home in Chicago talking to her mom in her garage, like filling her in on everything that's happened. And they go away, they walk away out the garage and leave AI Tony Stark there, and he's kind of like looking kind of devious. So not sure what's going on there, but we'll find out next issue probably. And
hey, quick question: how is this AI Tony Stark different from the one who's in Secret War right now? Is it the same program, or is it slightly different?
Secret Empire.
It's
supposed to be the same. Except he's living in a old suit of armor.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm sure Agent 70 probably read this next one. My last book, I think, is Mighty Thor number 22.
Yes. We can tag team this rapid fire. Go ahead.
So Jane Foster Thor and Dwarf Thor are in Muspelheim to take on the fire creatures.
Yep.
Or the Cinder Queen.
Surtur's daughter. It's Surtur's daughter. So Cinder has a nice little origin tale at the beginning where she talks about how her and her kin were starved for 13 days and then offered a pile of food or like screaming souls to torture or something like that. So of course she took the souls, and that's why she's now the ruler of Muspelheim after Surtur's death. Which they gave an issue number of when I guess Surtur was defeated, but I don't even remember that happening.
Well, according to this, it was Surtur being assassinated. According to Cinder, I have to go back and look at that. That might
is it like 2011 or something?
That might have been during just Straczynski's run.
Okay.
That's relatively recent. That's like Fear itself area. 2000.
Okay.
That's
before I started reading again. So, what was that saying?
Was that Odin Force Thor? Like when Thor had the Odin Force in him?
After. I think this is after.
Was after?
This is well after. I think this might have been during when they were trying to find all the Asgardians who were scattered on Earth.
Oh, yes, that's around the same time. Yeah, that's like around Odin, like when Thor, like I think Odin wanted to stay dead, so Thor kept the Odin Force for him.
That's around the time when Asgard was in Oklahoma or above Oklahoma.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's a female Loki.
Right. So I mean,
it's his body.
Yeah, my only frame of reference for that was the year. I was so glad that they gave us the year actually, so that I could, because
I was like, whoa, that was before I started back reading comics again.
So just to touch on and continue on what Tim Dog was just saying. So we've got the battle between Cinder and the War Thor, and things are going badly for the War Thor. But then, there's actually a great visual here of what is this, fire-breathing sharks? Just I'll leave it at that, fire-breathing sharks. It is Muspelheim after all, and Jane Foster Thor makes an appearance and kind of sticks her nose into this. And ultimately what we have is the War Thor kind of losing his wits and trying to destroy Muspelheim, and Jane Foster stops him, and that of course leads to a confrontation. That's where we end off with this book. I'm kind of excited to see how this plays out in the next issue.
Same.
The thing I'm wondering, what purpose would it be to leave like the fire people alive anyway, since just bent on destruction and burning people?
Balance. These worlds have always been there in the 9 realms, or now the 10 realms. So there's always been like the Jotuns and the giants and the frost giants have always been there. The minions of Surtur have always been there. In the fire in Muspelheim. So it's if you kill them all now, where's the next story coming from, right?
No, but seeing how Surtur's supposed to be around for Ragnarok, to come back to life anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So.
And how many times did they killed off Loki and he came back? So like death for them doesn't really stick.
Sure. So
can't kill the gods; they just keep coming back.
Exactly. Yep. Tim, you got anything else?
Let me double check spreadsheets.
No Ultimates 2 100.
I was gonna leave that to Roddy because I know that he's a fan. Like he's been following.
I'm behind on that issue.
Yeah, he's been following us a lot closer than me. I was just gonna hit my one book.
I'm done.
Just reading that now.
Oh no! So let me jump to Astonishing X-Men number 2. Did anyone read that?
Yeah, I skimmed through it.
So what I liked about this is that it literally feels like a chess match between the Shadow King and, spoiler alert, if you didn't read the first issue, it's literally a chess match between the Shadow King, Amal Farouk, and Charles Xavier, with an eclectic group of X-Men as the pawns in the game trying to escape the Shadow King's psychic grasp. That's the crux of the issue. That is, pretty much everything from start to finish. What's interesting is one, I was kind of thinking, how are they going to explain Xavier's return? And I'm wondering, given that Rogue is in this, is on this Astonishing team, I wonder if this isn't playing off of the events in Uncanny Avengers.
It probably is.
And two, the cliffhanger ending, which I will not spoil, I thought was a nice little touch also, because it adds at least the semblance of drama to this, given the stakes of the game. So I like the first issue of this new volume of Astonishing X-Men. I'm willing to give it another issue, and that says a lot. When it comes to a lot of these X books, like in the new run of X books, where Generation X is not interesting to me, and it's nice that this one is at least it's kind of replaying some of the old greatest hits, and refashioning.
Yeah, the Rogue Gambit love story.
Exactly, but refashioning it so that it's at least something different. So what did you think about it, Von Gloom?
No, I found it funny because I think I tweeted earlier how I thought Gambit and Rogue were a crappy couple. Then Tim and then Tim mentioned the Phantom X Psylocke, and here this issue they mentioned Rogue and Gambit and Kitty and Peter. So I found it funny that kind of was all in line this week.
Right, and they mentioned the Phantom X Psylocke in the first issue.
Yeah. They're pretty crappy X-Men relationships, though, especially those two, Psylocke and Phantom X, and the whole bizarre. And there was two Phantom X, a girl and a boy one, and the evil twin one.
I try to forget those issues of X-Men. They're sitting in a drawer box downstairs in storage.
That was Remender's run, right? They had all the crazy Phantom X Psylocke crap.
I try not to.
It was.
Yeah, I think it was had all that crazy crap in it.
All right. Well, that's it for me because I don't want to touch Ultimates 2 number 100 because Roddy Cat is reading it.
That's fine. I finished it.
Do you enjoy it?
Well, I mean, it was kind of a rushed read, and Ultimates is one you kind of gotta pay a little bit of attention to. But I got the gist of it. And I kind of probably let me say that for last. So let me just run through my other books because that's gonna take a second while I process. So. Future Quest presents Space Ghost #1. I guess I'll try to put this up here while I got this, but you know what? Nope. So this is let's see. This is basically a new story, and this is following pretty much Future Quest. If you've read that, they kind of touch upon like real briefly what happened in that miniseries, but the majority of the issue is pretty much like Space Ghost goes off and does this thing for a second while Jan and Jace were in school, which I thought they were a little bit old. And and Blip was and Blip was with them. So they were in school and they were talking about, I guess their teacher was talking about. They basically the teacher was basically talking about the events of Future Quest and planets that are around. We see a shot of the Herculoids, which they end up going back to not Quasar, it's not Quasar, Asmot later on, because Space Ghost is basically trying to reform the Space Force, but there's only 3 bands left outside of his. It's 5 in total if you count his, but there's only 3 left. So they need to get this element to that that basically powers the power bands. So they go to Asmot, which because it turns out that there's some of that element there, and they enlist the help of one of the Herculoids, Igu to be specific, and they go out down to this cave, and they get met by one of Space Ghost's old enemies, and that's their end of the book. So it was a pretty decent read, I thought. It's Space Ghost. If you know those Space Ghost the cartoons, it pretty much plays nicely into that.
You know what I found funny? That the artist who I think was Olivier something like that, the dude who drew this issue, he drew the miniseries a couple years ago that they had. They're like a 4-issue Space Ghost miniseries back like in I want to say late 90s. They're the same artist who drew this again. The Brazilian dude, I think.
It was nice. It was kind of it was the art was pretty nice, and it was kind of I'm not sure what I've seen his work before, and I'm trying to remember where recently it showed up.
He did Venom. He did Space Venom, the Space Knight one.
Okay, no, I didn't read that. But anyway, it showed up somewhere else that I remember, and it was nice art. So there's that. Black Panther and the Crew #5. So this time we have Manifest story. We see his connection to Ezra from the past, and how he ended up to be in Harlem. We see him kind of internally monologuing while fighting a bunch of AmeriCorps who were trying to capture these 2 kids who were out past curfew. He himself almost gets captured, and then the crew comes and helps him out, saves him. And then they start talking about what's going on in Harlem, and we find out how and where Ezra and his crew got their powers from in the past, which turns out Hydra is involved, but he didn't know about that because apparently Hydra is using hate for reasons, which Luke says, well, like, that just sounds like standard Hydra. So how's this any different? To which, they don't know why it's going on there in Harlem, but we don't know because probably won't get that until next issue. And then we come to find out the killer of Ezra, because this whole thing started off as some guy named Ezra, I can't remember his last name, gets killed. He was kind of a protester type, but he gets put in jail and killed while in jail. And this is what kind of brings all of the crew together in the first place, trying to find out who his killer is. And then at the last page of this book, we see who looks like is the person who killed her, because they had an informant kind of, they've been sitting on this informant to try to find out who this person is, who happens to show up on TV, and the informant guy points him out, and it's somebody that Storm knows, and that has been brought up in the book. But Storm's like, you must be mistaken, because it can't be, dude, that must be someone else. And dude's like, nah, this is him, that's him. And Storm gets freaked out, and that was where the book ends. Let's see, Star Wars number 34. The team up you never thought you would you'd want it, but you probably do. It's Sanastaros and Lando Calrissian on Coruscant doing it's actually a more, you don't really get the sense of this at first, but this is more of a Sana focused issue.
Yeah.
Because you get a monologue, but you don't necessarily know who it is until later on in the book, and it turns out it's Sana. But first you see Sana going to Lando saying she needs help with something, because she got into something, and that she paid his price, whatever it was, and Lando being Lando, trying to smooth her, but she was like, no, I'll pay your price, let's just do this. So what ends up coming up to be an elaborate triple cross by Sana works out in her favor. And at the end of the book, which is funny, she's basically on a date with Lando, and back on Nar Shaddaa, where apparently she's from, because that's we found out this in the monologue, we didn't know it was her. They're at dinner, and Lando's like, this is terrible food, and this and that and the other. Like, all right, you're kind of crazy, I'm gonna leave you alone, I'll just take my cut and go. Then he leaves, and then the waiter comes by, and Sana's like, all right, you can take this away now and give him some extra real food. So she's been kind of hustling Lando, who arguably is the biggest hustler in the in that galaxy, I guess. And then we come to find out that she's not all bad, because all of the money that she took from this hut and the Empire during this triple cross went partially towards this hospital that was on Nar Shaddaa. And like, so we end the book basically with a cutscene towards what seems to be the next issue, where Han has a hut in captive and being chased by the Empire or somebody. So, which the last couple of issues been kind of doing like that. Like I said, the last issue was a Luke and Leia's focus issue, which the last page kind of talked about, kind of ran into this book, and then this book is kind of running into the given to the next one. So it was a good week. This is a potential click of the week, I thought, all told. But that is that. Let's see. U.S. Avengers number 9. Roberto and Tony escape or start to escape Hydra clutches. They go up against Red Hulk. They deal with that, and they basically stage a breakout of the Hydra facility, and they're in. Meanwhile, Squirrel Girl and the Euroforce are in France, and they stole some mechs, and they fight Hydra on that end. And I think that's pretty much where that one goes. Let's see. Star Trek: The Next Generation, Mirror Broken #3. Another potential click of the week. So this one is basically Picard and crew are going through with their plan to steal the Enterprise. One Captain Jellicoe shows up, which if anybody's a TNG fan remembers the couple of episodes he was in, Ronnie Cox played the character, and they got the likenesses obviously because because this is how the books usually runs. So Picard and crew take over the Enterprise. They do something with Jellicoe, and this is where that book. Well, this is what. Oh, and Beverly Crusher and Wesley are on board just in time to see all of this go down. And apparently there's a little tension between Beverly and Picard, as there kind of is, but in this case, not a good one. But Wesley's like, yeah, we should go along with this plan. Should stay on board and go along with this plan because the numbers add up. And Wesley seemed like he may be a touch special needs, but he's also kind of a savant, which he already was on the show anyway. So, but that's kind of playing into some other things, and that's where that book ends up. With Picard in control of the ship and Jellicoe spaced. Let's see. I think last but not last but not least. Catalyst Prime Superb #3. Jonah escapes from Foresight, ends up at Kayla's house, and with Foresight not too far behind because they pretty much tracked him down. Kayla shows a little bit of power herself, which this is pretty much the first time we've seen this in the last couple of issues because she just picks him up and carries him into the house. So she's at the very least super strong. We get a little bit more into a little behind the scenes of what Foresight's doing in the neighborhood or in the town. So they're basically trying to get all of the, trying to find and train or reprogram all of the people with powers so to fight for them. So they're looking at all of the kids, to try to raise an army out of them. But, that's going kind of slowly. And the book ends when Foresight comes over to Jonah's house, which Kayla took Jonah to instead of her house. And Foresight come knocking on the door because they were doing a house-to-house sweep of the area, and it looks like they may have tracked Jonah down to his very house. Being that Kayla's parents worked for Foresight, they went over to her house, but they found out, well, it's protected, so because her parents work for Foresight at a top level, and leads us to the end of that book. Now, last but not least, Ultimates 2, number 100. Apparently the last issue of this book, and it is sad because all of my favorite books are leaving me, and I am really, really upset. First of all, we start with Ultimates versus Ultimates fights. It's classic Ultimates versus our current Ultimates. That fight ends up ending after the Maker gets rid of Ultimates Cap and starts monologuing this and that and the other. But the Maker gets taken care of thanks to Monica Rambeau and a nudge from High Evolutionary. But the Maker still has some machines going, and Ultimates Tony Stark, who is apparently drunk or getting drunk and talking about, yeah, this is how my nanites work. He spits on the machine, interfaces it, and he, with the help of the other Ultimates, kind of break the machine, and therefore pretty much undoing a lot of the stuff that that happened during the course of the Ultimates, and thereby meaning So last issue or which before last, Eternity got swallowed up by the first firmament. That gets undone because he breaks out of that. Galactus and the Eternity Watch having been done goes in and helps.
Sure, was Eternity Watch.
I think it was Eternity Watch. You're right. Sorry. Yeah, it was Eternity Watch. And I say that because I'm getting something confused because there's an Infinity that shows up and a whole bunch, and there's another set of Ultimates that's like cosmic beings that show up. Yeah. It's a whole thing that happens in this book. But basically, like I said, Eternity's freed and roughly back to health. All these Celestials are back.
Was it new? The fifth host though?
Yes, the fifth host. That's true. Because they were with the Never Queen. If you've read Silver Surfer, you know who the Never Queen is. I'm not even going to go into all of that. What else happens?
And there's more like they had the second iteration of Eternity and the fourth and the fifth and the sixth and all these other
and that's where
versions.
and they call right, and that's where the another issue iterations of the Ultimates come in because he's calling them because Eternity was calling them his Ultimates. And then let's see. Oh, Logos gets split again into the components that made him up.
T'Challa.
What's that?
Remember, T'Challa has like the tiger god.
Oh yeah, getting into getting that. That's right. I'm glad you reminded me of that. So yes, T'Challa shows up with the tiger god, who apparently explains that because of the tiger god brings him to this existence where he can expand his mind to the cosmic awareness or whatever, and the tiger god basically rips Logos into the three components back again. So now Order, Chaos, and the in-betweener are now back to their former selves. So like I said, all of this is pretty much is wrapping things up nice and neat. And then there's a little thing after that where I thought that the infected Eternity firmament was the maker partially, because you could see like the little part of his helmet or something, but that gets taken care of. And then
I think the Logos was his agent. Like I think he had infected.
Well, no, not Logos. No, I mean, well, yeah, but I mean, what was it? The maker that infected him, or was that the first firmament? Because I know the maker was working. The maker was working for the first firmament.
Yeah, because like remember how I think with Molecule Man he split Reed throughout the multiverse. So Reed wants the multiverse to become one universe, right. And the first firmament wants that too, because like when he's most powerful when it's one.
That's correct, and that's why he was trying to swallow up Eternity. It had Eternity and change, and then swallowed them up after the events of last issue, which again, Eternity ends up breaking out and being healed because of it. And when he breaks out, so. But yeah, the rest of the book is basically. What's that? I'm sorry.
The thing is cool that Galactus stayed the Lightbringer. He didn't turn back into the Deathbringer. He stayed the Lightbringer.
That is true. That also happened. Which it seemed like they weren't going to get rid of that anytime soon. But also because there was a time when he was back to being the Deathbringer, and they were like, no, we're not doing. That got taken out of him, and he's still that, and then. He's like watching over things, and the rest of the issue is basically this is what's going on with the. What's that?
The Living Tribunal's back. Remember, he's back. They brought him back somehow. Living Tribunal.
Oh, that's right. That is right. That has also happened. Yeah, like I said, pretty much a lot of things that got done in the Ultimates pretty much got undone and put back into place. And they
mentioned the one above all too. Pretty much the God of Marvel Universe, the one above all, the one that the Tribunal works for. In the very first, he's like, "I'm the one above all. I'm everything. I have many hands. A great weapon is love."
Right. As a matter of fact, I think the book, the issue starts off with that. So, but yeah, cool I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I thought it was cool that they mentioned. So last time they showed him was like back when it was Mike Wieringo and Mark Waid, when Reed Richards met God, it pretty much implied that was the one above all. And I think it's back when Doom sent Franklin to hell and he burned Reed's face around that time.
But no, he was trying to rescue Ben.
He killed Ben.
Right, he's trying to bring back the Thing from the dead, and he went to God to do it. So
and implied that God was Jack Kirby, and Kirby like took a pencil and erased his scar.
Yeah. So anyway,
yeah, a lot of things happen in Ultimates 2-100. Let's put it that way.
that's why I kind of didn't want to touch on. Like, I'll leave that to Roddy. All right, rapid fire done. Tim, we done.
I would also want to make out that I'm sorry, last thing, but the Maker channel's Cosby, which I thought was like, that was weird. Yeah,
what was that?
The Maker channel's Cosby. It was something.
He drugged somebody.
Yeah, I know. I was saying, I'm like, is it putting?
No, he basically says, I brought you in this world, I'll take you out, and then takes out Cap.
The Cosby Show Cosby, not the creepy Cosby we know now. Okay.
Yeah, no, not druggy Cosby, no. So that's it. And I believe that is it for me for my rapid fire.
All right, clicks of the week time.
Wait.
No?
Did everybody there? No, I was like, one of everybody did that, but okay, that's fine.
No, it's not clicks of the week time?
No, go for it. If nobody else had anything else.
All right. I guess I'll read PCN_Dirt's message about his click of the week. So PCN_Dirt communicating to us from his peaceful, hopefully, vacation. PCN_Dirt says he was going to go with Dark Knight Metal, but Trespasser #2 from Alterna Comics was again an awesome read. From a post-apocalyptic to an alien sci-fi to straight-up horror tale, this series is great. And yes, it's printed on newsprint. Breathe it in.
Yes.
So that is PCN_Dirt's click of the week for this week. I'm going to go with, you know what? I was just skimming through it again. I'm going to go with, was it Generations Wolverine? #1? I think that's the title of the book. Generations Wolverine
and All New Wolverine.
Yep. Check it out. It's actually it's a pretty pleasant story to read. I was just rereading it just now. It's pretty good.
Okay. Tim Van Gloom.
I think I'm torn between Ultimates 100 and Guardians number, or whatever number that is, 7 or 8, whatever number that is.
8, I think. Mine's Super Sons #7.
Sticking with it, okay. Yeah, this was kind of a toughy one because Ultimates. I mean, even though I kind of skimmed it, yeah. And Star Wars was pretty damn good also. So, yeah. You know, because I've read a little bit more thoroughly. I shout out to Ultimates 2-100, but I'm gonna go with Star Wars #34.
All right.
I would definitely end up having to read Ultimates again.
On Gloom?
Yeah, Ultimates 2 and Guardians, they're equal place in my head right now. Oh.
Pick
Down for
one.
Ultimates.
Yeah, well,
Pick one or Ultimates then. I'll pick Ultimates.
There you go. And those are clicks of the week for this week. Tim, you gonna bust out, or are you gonna give me a chance to read the ad? I'm
gonna bust out.
Alrighty.
All right, Tim.
Y'all
have a good one. Anything you want to
plug? Watch Game of Thrones this Sunday, just because I love the show.
Huh.
And Defenders, defend.
Yeah, starting tonight.
Well, midnight, right?
Or Friday when I get home.
Midnight, exactly. After midnight.
Friday when I get home.
Friday a.m.
Yeah.
See you.
All right.
All right, peace.
See you, Tim.
And we'll transition into the news with our first ad of the night. This episode of the KLIQ Nation's Comic Book Chronicles is sponsored by Busted Tees, your home for funny, awesome, cool t-shirts that are sure to get your friends' attention. Busted Tees puts many of their popular shirt designs on sale each week. Choose from several eye-catching t-shirts inspired by pop culture, cleverly themed t-shirts inspired by movies, video games, TV shows, comic books, and geek culture, and much more are all on sale. To help keep our podcast free, order from Busted Tees by going to cspn.us. That's cspn.us. Then click on the Keep Our Podcast Free link. Click on the Busted Tees banner and then shop for awesome t-shirts. Busted Tees through cspn.us. Do it today. All right, and we lead into the news.
There was no way I was going to get all of the news out before you did that. You need to read slower next time.
What?
Just kidding. Just kidding.
Do you realize what time it is now?
Yeah. Hey, man, this is the news. Care must be made. Anyway, first up.
I'm like, you already have some news here.
Well, not as much as the last two, luckily.
Yeah.
But anyway, like I said, Justice League reshoots lightened film's tone, actor confirms. So yeah, we've been off and on talking about the Justice League reshoots, or how much they are and whatever, what else going on with them. So in an interview with Joe Morton, shout out to Joe Morton, who plays Dr. Silas Stone, he says, yeah, that's the case, but he's basically saying that he just had a little bit to do, and there's a little bit in there about they made some adjustments to Cyborg and as far as tone.
Okay. So it appears that the Vixen animated series will be addressed in Legends of Tomorrow. It looks like they're going to, I guess, integrate certain aspects of the shows.
So is she going to appear in Legends of Tomorrow then?
I mean, she's been in the last season or two.
Oh, I haven't watched it since the first season, so I wasn't too sure.
Yeah, so she came in, I think, second season, and this was around the time that actually, yeah, not only she's been into it, but now they have a different character playing her for reasons. But yeah, she's been in it, and I guess, yeah.
Okay. I was about to say, let me wrap in the next one too, because it's related.
Do it.
So Legend of Tomorrow, Vixen in action in an exclusive season 2 deleted scene. So I guess the the second season of DC's Legend of Tomorrow received some acclaim for building on the show's time-traveling premise. And on Blu-ray and DVD, now on sale, there is an exclusive deleted scene where Vixen is displayed in action.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
I remember that episode, actually, vaguely, but I still need to catch up on this last season. Anywho, Russo Brothers start production on Avengers 4, which I thought we already said that already, but you know.
Woo!
And actually, you know what? Let me wrap in this next one in there, since it's also related. Because, spoiler alert, folks, we found out.
I was about to say, what sound effect were you playing just now? And then I realized there's an audible.
Yeah, so it looks like Paul Bettany's Vision will be returning for Avengers 4, so he makes it out after Infinity War. And actually, I think there's another one. Yep, I don't know why I missed it. I put that in the wrong place. But also,
Want to wrap it in?
Is Ultimate Hawkeye debuting in Avengers 4? Because it apparently seems that like Clint Barton also makes it out of Infinity War. So if you don't know already, the rumor is that there might be some people that are not going to make it past Infinity War movie. And there's been rumors as to who that might be, but we now know that there's a couple of them that will make it.
Right, and the rumored character change or character alteration with regards to Ultimate Hawkeye and the Hawkeye that's in the MCU right now, how that particular change might take effect, might make these movies take on a much darker tone than what we're used to. Obviously, it's a war movie now, but at the end of the day, it's a pretty dark tone if what they're rumoring actually comes to pass.
I'm trying to remember. Weren't there like 2 Ultimate Hawkeyes? I feel like when I was black, and then it was because it was like Clint had died or something, and then this other black Hawkeye took over, and then Clint somehow came back or something. I don't know.
Couldn't help.
I don't remember too much Ultimates.
Was that during Jeff Loeb's tenure at the Ultimates? Because it kind of went to hell after that.
I don't know. Like I said, I admittedly I don't remember reading that much of the Ultimates.
I mean, I lost track of it after a while.
Yeah, I know I read the first one. I don't think I read too much after that.
In our next bit of news, I'm not going to discuss this in detail because I have not watched it. I'm not watching any more trailers. There is a trailer for Thor Ragnarok, and the spoiler alert is it's not that big a spoiler alert because
it really isn't.
If you watch the end scenes for a certain Doctor Strange movie, then you know that Doctor Strange appears in Thor. So so apparently in this trailer, Doctor Strange gives Thor some advice in the new Ragnarok trailer. Again, I am on trailer lockdown at this point. It is August. This movie's coming out in a couple more months. No more trailers.
Yeah, it's just because outside of their interaction, there's not much more to the trailer that you haven't already seen. If you've seen any of the trailers for Thor Ragnarok, like that, the only new thing is their interaction.
Yeah, no more trailers. Let's be surprised.
Easy for you to say,
right?
Captain Marvel brings in a new screenwriter. So I'm not sure what happened to the last one, but Meg LaFave. Oh, that was the old screenwriter. Departed the film, and they got a new one. Geneva Robertson Duarte.
Okay.
Duarte? Excuse me. Pardon me if I butchered your name. And she's done some stuff. Tomb Raider, Dungeons and Dragons, Suicide Squad, spin-off Gotham Cycles, and Sherlock Holmes 3, which, yeah. Okay.
All right. I'm going to wrap the next 2 together.
Do it.
Because Defenders, which drops tonight or in the early morning, Luke Cage meets a redacted in another teaser clip. And
I mean, it's not that really big of a, it's foggy. Just
right. So, and the second bit of news was Misty Knight meets Colleen Wing in a potential Daughters of the Dragon team up.
Oh, I hope so. Man, I hope so.
That works.
I want that badly. Yes, I want that very, very badly. Where are we? Daredevil season 3. No, Daredevil season 3 production starts in October.
So I guess I'll be on the streets of New York looking for the shooting sets now,
and maybe even a cameo. Hopefully,
seriously. Speaking of Netflix shows shooting right now, David Tennant's Kilgrave is haunting Jessica Jones in the new season 2 Jessica Jones set photos,
and apparently not just Jessica Jones but also Malcolm. So it is implying that Kilgrave is in possibly both of their minds still in some kind of way. So there is that. Netflix in talks with Disney to keep Marvel's Star Wars films because, as if you don't remember us talking last week, or if you do remember, Disney is starting their own streaming service. Another streaming service, I guess, and putting their properties there. And it looks like most, if not all, of their stuff, minus the Netflix Marvel shows, are leaving Netflix. So Netflix is trying to keep some of that stuff.
All right, let's do alternating rapid fire on the Star Wars stuff because all Star Wars in the next couple of ones.
But you could have
wrap them all together.
Well, at least the next 2 because they're related. But
all
sure,
right,
go for it.
Ron Howard teases the Death Star in the Star Wars Han Solo solo movie. And though he is now part of the dearly departed, Han Solo plays a crucial role in the upcoming Last Jedi movie.
Yep.
Would it be a Force ghost?
No, because that would be really stupid because he never believed in the Force in the first place. So
until he said, that's not how the Force works. That's when he was a believer.
Yeah, having seen it in action and believing in it is two different things. But yeah, so we don't know. Yeah, I mean, it could be flashbacks. It could be Kylo, going goth and be like, "I killed my dad," and having his quote unquote ghost haunt him or something. I don't know.
All right, you got next.
Next, we have The Last Jedi. We'll dive into race paths because the character demands it. I mean, I don't know. I felt like that's a little
It's kind of
editorializing.
No, I was going to say it kind of presumes that we're going to go into her past in the second movie.
Well, yeah, that was the other thing I was going to say. Yeah, I was like, that seems more editorializing than not, but who knows? It could be. But as you just said, exactly. Yeah, like that's kind of where it should be because we don't really know unless you've read the books. One of the books, don't know that much about her. So yeah, look forward to that. Go for it.
Captain Phasma will see a heck of a lot more action in The Last Jedi than she did in the first movie because all she did was get murked in the first movie, basically.
Yeah, getting thrown in the trash chute.
Exactly.
Yeah, so good. This is probably what we needed to see in the first place. Like, how are you gonna just make a character like that and then just like, oh no, we're just gonna fling her away real quick?
Right.
Anyway,
we made action figures of her, so they're kind of teasing that she'd have a bigger role.
Right. Benicio del Toro is just the latest in a long line of Star Wars hacker characters. So it appears that Mr. Del Toro is going to play a slicer, which is the Star Wars equivalent of a hacker in Force Awakens. I'm sorry, in Last Jedi. Sorry.
So he's Snowden in space?
Oh no.
We don't necessarily. No, we don't. I don't think he's to that point. But who knows? But apparently, they're gonna have a few slicers in the next movie for some odd reason. That may or may not have something to do with what Finn and the new character Rose. In fact,
yeah.
Well, yeah, because according to that article, Finn and Rose are tracking down somebody, and they need to slice his help, so they go to I guess him.
Right. So Finn isn't crippled after the Kylo Ren.
He's gonna. Well, there's also been another article about which makes sense. Yeah, he's gonna be thrown into a back to tank and healed.
Yeah,
somewhere during the course of the movie.
It could heal paralysis like that.
I mean, hey, back to heals all, man.
Listen,
Luke got sliced. Remember, Luke got sliced and he healed up.
He's got a bionic spine now. Who knows? So.
And actually, there's an article in the show notes, which actually I don't think we gave to you, Van Gloom.
You didn't tweet out the link?
Nope.
I tweeted it out. Yeah, I tweeted it out, but I didn't put it in the chat.
Dang, you should check.
But that speaks on that part of it. But we'll get to that in a second. Where are we?
So there's a Obi-Wan Kenobi film reportedly in development now at Disney.
Yes. Which
is it going to
seem like a. Say again.
Will it have Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan reprising his role?
That would be awesome.
He expressed interest according to this article, but that has not yet been confirmed.
Listen, that would be awesome. I would absolutely welcome the only kind of link to the to the prequel trilogy coming back. I'd be happy.
It would make sense.
I would be happy with that.
It would make some total sense. If he's down for it, hey, he ain't getting any younger.
Yeah, no Hayden Christensen. We will take McGregor.
Well, right now he's Darth, so no more whiny, crying, emo.
Yeah.
No emo Anakin. Unless they made him like Clone Wars Anakin, because he was at least getting likable.
Oh, yeah, you're right. He was. Then he became all mopey. I hate them, Padme. I killed them all. I hate them.
I know, right? Lucas. Next up, Mark Hamill. Oh, this is for you, Agent 70, and anybody else. But this probably should go without saying. In that, Mark Hamill and Rian Johnson recommend ignoring Star Wars: The Last Jedi marketing. So if you don't want to be spoiled, don't look at
Don't watch.
anything goes about. Yeah, don't
Don't
look at
watch.
anything.
Don't look at anything.
Which makes sense. And
Don't
this is not
look
the
at
first time
articles,
Hamill.
don't look at any pictures. Yeah, that's it.
Some of us can't help that, you know. But yes, if you can avoid it, then don't.
Willpower.
Yes. No, not willpower. It's news, man.
That's true. That is part of your duties here on the show.
Part of my thing. So, you know, somebody got to do it. But Mark Hamill, this is not the first time Mark Hamill's said such a thing, or has endorsed such a thing, because he has said, I know as recent as last year, and I probably said so this past D23, you know, while talking, was like, hey, you know, it's if you can avoid it, basically. And he also goes on to say a couple other things, but you know, the Hamill being Hamill. So you gotta love him. Next up,
Big Hero 6 TV show is coming this November.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Also, actually, I didn't put this in the lineup, but if you haven't seen the DuckTales preview, it is out there on YouTube officially, actually from Disney. If you
The first episode?
I believe it is. I haven't watched it yet.
That's decent. They gave the twins their own personalities, and they made Scrooge less of an old grump. So it's all right.
Yeah, and speaking of David Tennant, who plays Uncle Scrooge. But yeah, that's out there if you care to watch that, and it's also on the Disney XD app if you have access to that. But yeah, Big Hero 6 is coming, and that's the thing. Robert Kirkman's Skybound Studios inks a deal with Amazon Studios. So instead of going to Netflix, I guess his properties are going. Well, I guess Walking Dead specifically sounds like it's going to Amazon Prime, and some of his other stuff.
Is that the AMC? Does that come to AMC?
That's AMC, yeah. Mm-hmm. So it sounds like it might be leaving AMC and going to Amazon Prime, as well as some of his other books like Invincible. And Outcast is on Showtime.
It is?
Uh-huh.
Is that that demon possession show he has?
I believe so, yeah. I have not watched it, but I know it is there. I just haven't checked it out because, yeah. But yeah, so there you go. He's going to Amazon Prime. Just in his stuff.
All right. So Netflix has Mark Millar and Amazon have Kirkman.
Yep.
Yeah, they're trying to array their line up their line.
Sure up, yeah.
Exactly. They're trying to line up like set up their lineups to combat the possibility that Disney is going to have its own streaming universe.
So who's going to buy Ellis or Grant Morrison to like round out the top creator by Bendis?
That's assuming that actually happens, but in this climate, that could very well happen. And hey, stay tuned.
Yep. So in next in news, Hellboy, the Hellboy reboot, has cast American Honey star Sasha Lane. Not sure what role she's playing, but
yeah, not sure. Oh, Alice
Monaghan. Okay. So that's Alice.
What the heck is American Honey?
Don't know.
Is it like Honey that dance with the Alba?
No, I think that's
that was just that was just Honey.
Oh man, I totally forgot. Shout out to Jessica Alba.
Mm.
Anywho, Community's Joel McHale in talks to star in Quantum and Woody TV series. I mean, sound like he would. Yeah, I mean, obviously sound like he's going to play Woody. That sounds like the best fit for him in that capacity. But I don't know. Sure.
Alrighty. So Star Trek Discovery Season 2 is going to deal with the aftermath of the Klingon War.
I mean, yeah, we haven't even gotten to Season 1 yet, but that's fine. Let's go. Yeah.
Okay.
They're planning ahead. Yeah.
Yes, you're hopeful.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's good. It seems like it's visually it's got a look to it. That's for sure. So hope it works out. Hopefully it makes it 7 because Enterprise did not do that. Last but not least in cinematic news,
Jetsons live action.
Yep. So yeah, we had talked about this a while ago. So if you didn't know, the Jetsons was option for a live action TV series, at
Why?
ABC, and it looks like the pilot has been put in order. You know,
Oh Lord.
we live in a strange world of comics coming to media platforms.
So is it
comics.
CGI Astro then or something?
I only have one thing to say to this.
We don't know.
Yeah, we all
So
lost with that one.
Shout out to a
Yes. Yeah, so Robert Zemeckis will produce this. Yeah.
Oh.
So give it some kind of hope. Oh, so wait. So Gary Janetti, who has written for and produced shows like Family Guy and World of Grace, will write and executive produce. Take that for what you will.
Rowdy, you're underwater.
Yay! No.
Alrighty.
It's Aqua Rowdy.
So move past clickbait, move past the solicits, and jump to the comic news while Roddy adjusts his audio. In our first story, Wonder Woman rides in with more adorable Funko toys. So I guess it's the next wave of Funko pop figures based off of the Wonder Woman.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Yeah.
Okay, I must have had it on the wrong one. So yeah, solicitations are out. Wonder Woman's got some Funko toys. There was something in clickbait. Oh, that's something in clickbait actually, because this is actually news. Happy belated birthday to Jim Lee. And actually, I think we do have a story in here. Who
It was his birthday?
A few days ago, like last Friday, I believe it was. But I think we have a story on that. I'm not sure. But yeah, Wonder Woman got Funko toys. Superman does something unthinkable, and Batman and Dark Knight's metal art. You were gonna say something, Vangaloom?
No,
What's up?
No, it's just Jetsons. I'm so surprised about the Jetsons live action.
Oh, you were still on this. Come back. Let's come back. Hold on.
We live in a strange world, sir. You know, where pretty much everything. If they can figure out some way to put it on TV and it's from a comic book, they will do so. Or
Yeah, something nostalgic. You know, they're trying to mine that nostalgia mine. You know, to the depths. So,
AKA milk it for every last until it's no good anymore.
Last cent.
Yeah. But yeah, Snyder outlines Dark Knight's metal connection to Grant Morrison's Geoff Johns King's and Spoiler, which I think was Sandman, which we kind of already talked about.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, we see what that article gets the connections therein. Once again, Jim Lee. Yeah, Jim Lee turns 53 last on the 11th, I believe.
53? Oh wow,
53.
Yeah, we old
on the 11th. Yeah. So getting older very soon. Anyway,
the demon. Hell is
Demon.
Earth. I was gonna say, since you already did a couple, the demon.
Etrigan.
Hell is Earth revives classic Kirby character. So Etrigan the Demon is back.
And since he had been brought back in Trinity fairly recently, as of the annual, I think that might not have been the only place he's shown up recently, but yeah, he's getting mini. Sure, we'll go with that. Yep, 1 of 6. So it's a miniseries. Tom King has a Sergeant Rock pitch for DC and a host of top artists to draw for it. Now I remember seeing this tweet. Yeah, because with all the Nazi punching talk on Twitter and the going on in the real world, Tom King says he had this pitch for Sergeant Rock because he was in a somehow, quote unquote, somehow find myself in the mood to write about heroes fighting Nazis, which he said a couple of days ago. And I think he may have outlined that pitch during his tweet thread.
Is Gerard going to be one of the artists involved? Because I would love to see them work.
I think that gets mentioned. That gets mentioned.
Mr. Rogers would be perfect for that.
He mentions, so yes, his pitch mentions Mitch Gerard, Chris Samney, which is another good pick, Patrick Zurcher, and Francesco Francavilla, which also is a good pick.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Come on, DC, make it happen.
Yeah, I would love to see Samney on a Sergeant Rock book. That'd be dope. And Gerard, too. I mean, there's not a bad pick in this one.
Come on, DC, make it happen.
Yep. Next up, Age of 70. I know you and I both would love this one.
So, yeah.
Anyway,
Ed Piskor reveals the X-Men grand design for Marvel.
So we didn't get to talk about this when it first happened. This came out during San Diego, and we didn't get a chance to talk about it for some odd reason. I may not have had it in the lineup then, but there was another article this week about this. So yes, Ed Piskor is doing a X-Men book for Marvel, and this is gonna be good. X-Men. I mean, Ed Piskor being the creator of Hip Hop Family Tree, which Agent 78 and I both love.
Yep.
Yeah, it's going to be a cool thing, and it's going to be a 6-part series, apparently condensing the decades worth of X-Men lore into a single issue,
or 2 or 3, I think.
Well, it's going to be 6 in all, but
Right.
but they're saying, you know, a certain part is going to be kind of basically like he's doing with Hip Hop Family Tree, if you think about it, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely, condensing it
So,
into like a sensible read. So.
mhm.
I like this next bit of news.
So we'll go for it then.
So Master of Kung Fu number 126 is going to revive the title for a one-shot and bring in CM Punk, former wrestler, current UFC fighter, to write.
Writer.
Exactly. CM Punk did write a couple of short stories, I think, for Marvel within the last couple of years.
Drax, right?
Yeah, he did do Drax.
Okay, so then he definitely has some minor writing experience, and it'd be interesting to see his take on Shang-Chi. So we'll see how that comes out in a few months.
Yeah, and he says, he gets quoted saying he grew up on Shang-Chi and he's a big Bruce Lee fan, so he adores Shang-Chi as well, and yada, yada, yada.
I wouldn't mind seeing a Shang-Chi Netflix series to watch.
Apparently,
of Iron Fist.
Yeah. Apparently he's a Kung Fu practitioner also, so I guess that's the other draw, supposedly, whatever. Yeah. Next up, we have more legacy news in that, and why is this thing, what is going on in this drama? Legacy numbering math for so there's been a couple of these articles about, how the legacy numbering is going to play into the current books, and this one is about Spectacular Spider-Man, which goes up to 297. And here's the chart which Marvel put out in addition to the Shang-Chi one recently. I mean, that we just talked about. Speaking about how the numbering goes, and I think this excludes like a recent series, but nevertheless, it is what it is.
All right. The next story we can tag team because we did discuss this when the Spider-Man 2 discussion came up between myself and Von Gloom. So talking about, I didn't want to reveal what happened when Peter Parker did a search for the 616 Miles Morales, but this story kind of spoils that. I'm going to ring the bell so we can talk about it a little bit. I think it's a red herring because what comes out in this issue is that they found no information on the Miles Morales of the 616 universe, even though we know one exists. So that plays into this character's storyline, which is that his existence has been wiped out online. He might be in witness protection or just, one of those highfalutin people who are able to hide off the grid.
Or he's a supervillain.
Exactly.
Most likely supervillain.
Exactly.
See who he was with in the last pages, panels.
Right. So there's that.
Yeah. Next up, I believe that's me. Digital comics provider. Make sure that's it. Yep. Madefire adding big DC Comics titles. Shout out to Raven Knot on Twitter for passing this one along. So if you didn't know, Madefire is a mobile app along the lines of a comicsology type deal, and DC's adding books to it. And I think IDW and other companies are also, I know IDW for sure, but there might be other people that are on that. So DC is the biggest one to put books on there so far. So maybe Marvel will come next, but I doubt it. Oh yeah, Archie, IDW, Boom, Dynamite, Titan, Valiant, and others that you can read through there.
So how's this different or better than Comicology?
Well, I guess it's your preference in what you want to read.
Right. Maybe cost also. We'll see.
Yeah, there's that. 'Cause I haven't
Comicology
really.
covers too?
Well, yeah, but there's a slight. I know there's a slight difference in it, because the Comicology has all those deals already. And this
There's
I can't
Unlimited
remember
too.
what the difference between this one. Well, yeah, there's that, and I can't remember what the difference is in this app than those. But I know there was a more indie stuff on there than, say, Comixology would have had initially, or has had initially. Even though, well, actually, I moved away from it because I thought they had Dark Horse 2, but which Comixology doesn't. But I'm not sure about that. I just read off all the names. I probably missed that one. But last but not least, some video game news. It's Civil War 3.
We're skipping the Hanna-Barbera.
Are we? Oh, shit. I guess we did. So, well, let me do some, then we'll double back. Marvel vs. Capcom. Yeah, there's a Marvel vs. Capcom trailer for the video game that is coming fairly soon.
It is coming real soon. I watched this trailer and I was like, it's coming on September. It's less than a month.
Yep.
Oh, it's a month. Wait, I thought it was September 13th. Is it 19th?
No, 19th.
So it's a little bit more than a month away, people. So can we start up a fund for let's get Agent_70 Pro so I can play this sucker and with all the hot graphics and whatnot. Come on, people. Let's start that Kickstarter.
GoFundMe.
Yeah, I'm about to say we'll get that GoFundMe out right after the show. So. Yeah.
And for all you people that know what I do in real life, thinking, why can't you afford that? Yeah, I can. So, but come on, I'm excited.
He's basically saying he wants this for scientific purposes.
Yeah, no, academic review purposes.
Academic purposes. Yes.
That is for all the. I love that we've resurrected this term for all the old school listeners, the OG listeners to the.
It comes back every now and then.
Exactly.
Von Gloom, do you video game? You're interested in this?
No, last time I played video games, my little cousin kicked my butt badly, so I stopped playing.
Oh no! Well, you stopped playing with Marvel vs. Capcom 3?
Everything. He crushed my spirit. He beat me so badly. I stopped playing.
Hey, if you get a chance, try Marvel Heroes. He can't crush you in that because there's no. I say there's no PvP, but there might be somewhere along the lines. But yeah, try Marvel Heroes. You might like that.
I'm looking forward to this. I've been talking about this for a while, even though it's not a spoiler alert at this point. They are not going to have X-Men characters in this. It's still going to be a lot of fun. I pretty much got a PS3 when they launched Marvel vs. Capcom 3, the first round.
Yeah.
So. I know that there was an Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 I also picked up because it added some characters, but ultimately, my PS3 is. What's that?
This is a Twitter tweet from Matt.
What's he saying? What is Matt
asking Classic to start a GoFundMe for you?
Thank you. So. You gotta love the online support you get, right? So
shout out to Matt Wang, but yeah,
shout out to Matt Wang 97. So getting back to what I was saying earlier, the PS3 that I have is a glorified Blu-ray player because I pretty much only played a few games, but I held off on getting a PS4 when Injustice 2 came out. But now that this Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite is going to be out, I'll probably pick up that and Injustice 2 for
Injustice 2 is pretty good.
Yeah. Now, what do you guys think? PS4? I've never done Xbox. I've never had one of the high end Xbox units. I only had.
Here's what I will say about that: if you know more people you will want to game with on one platform or another, and you will be doing more of that type of gaming with others, get that one. If you think you're more single player and focused, get the other one.
Okay.
And which has the games that you probably want. So what?
Yeah, I agree with you. You should vote that way.
Yeah. Like I have both, but that's only because I'm silly like that. and there's stuff on both platforms that I want to play. And
Right, you
one
want to play the
platform
exclusives that are on one or the other, right?
yeah, and I know more people on one platform that to play certain games with. So some of those games I play with them, and then some of the more singular focused ones and whatnot that I play on. Like pretty much Xbox is the one I play with other folks, and PS4 I play with. I know there's some people on there, but we are never around and don't really play that much of the same stuff. So that's like a Spider-Man game. That's gonna be great. I hope.
Yeah, it looks hot.
But is that going to be a Sony one?
It is. That's exclusive. So.
Yeah, so that may tilt my my choice there. So
yeah, and Injustice is on both platforms, so you kind of weigh out your options on that one.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Are you going to circle back to the Jetsons one so we can wrap up? All right.
Last but not least, in the news section, DC updates the Jetsons with new Hanna-Barbera comic series because. You can never have enough Hanna-Barbera stuff, I guess. The Flintstones one ended, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think it ended at 12.
Scooby-Doo's one still going on?
Apocalypse is still going on, I believe, and Team Up is still going on, but the whole that Team Up one is like a slightly different line, I guess, or something. I don't know how they work it out. But I think Apocalypse is still going.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, so the Jetsons will have a 6-issue miniseries written by Jimmy Palmiotti, and Pierre Brito with covers from Amanda Cano, as you would expect. Look, if you don't know the story of the Jetsons by now, I don't know what the heck you've been, but
it's in the theme song. People listen to the theme song. That's their story.
Yeah, basically. So this is going to be a quote unquote modern take on the Jetsons, as you can see from the pictures.
Are they going to have that weird blue creature with the spring legs that came on later seasons?
Oh no, I have no idea what he's talking about. So
I'm the Jetsons, they had that weird bouncy thing, and it was like furry, and Elroy found it doing a field trip, and they had to.
I remember I remember. I don't know. They don't say. And again, it's only
weird, like, cutie animal, pretty much cousin Oliver for Jetsons.
Yeah, I remember that. That's the thing now. They will probably allude to it, but it does not. I don't know. Doesn't say here either.
All right. So, I guess
wait. Apparently, it says here that the story is brought to life by prominent economist Bruto and dealt with the shocking revelation that Rosemary Jetson, George's dying mother, had her consciousness transferred to Rosie the robot.
Oh man, lame.
That's weird.
That's lame.
Because I think she wanted to continue helping out George because he was like a hapless guy, so she did that to stay with him or something.
Goodness.
Yeah. All I gotta say is,
Was that her distress call?
Yeah.
That was she was glitching out and something happened. That was I want to watch.
Was she depressed or something because her robot boyfriend
was
depressed?
Gone? Yes. In fact, I think it wasn't Uniblab. I can't remember who. No, her boyfriend was the
cabinet guy
helper. Yeah, he was the handyman's helper, the helper robot. Whose name escapes me, but yeah, then they broke up and she was depressed.
Shout out to Craig Mack. He said Uniblab.
Just like Uniblab.
So, as we reach the end of the news, before we get to the sign off and our ad for the night, does anyone have anything for the toy corner?
I do not.
I've already unboxed what I got because I took it out of the box. So if you're looking for something, I picked up the Funko Pop version of Lockjaw.
Oh, nice.
Oh, okay.
So now
I like the plushie better than the
I do too.
Pop.
I do too. But I'll explain why I got this. Also, one, I do like the way it looks, and two, I can now pair it with the Kamala Khan. So now she has her great big Bizarro doggy. So this is why I picked this particular pop up. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of the depiction of Lockjaw in this. I like the fact that I can pair them up now on the shelf.
Yeah, but now you have to get Medusa.
No, because I thought about getting the Black Bolt, and I was like, nah, you know what? I want to have the Lockjaw to go with Miss Marvel.
Yeah, but Medusa gave Lockjaw to
That's
Kamala.
That's
Or looked them out.
It's okay.
And with that, we come to the close of this here comic book Chronicles.
Let me get this ad in, and we'll close it up.
Uh-huh.
Today's podcast is sponsored by My Comic Shop. Go to cspn.us, then click on the Keep Our Podcast Free link at the top of the page. From there, click on the My Comic Shop banner and order from a vast selection of new releases, back issues, vintage classics, graphic novels, and more to be delivered right to your door. Why bother schlepping to the local comic book store when you can order your books online? My Comic Shop through cspn.us. Do it today.
And one last thing from the chat, from one Matt Wang, who goes back on the Suicide Squad chatter from earlier. He says he misses the late 80s, early 90s Suicide Squad. That was the best run. You never know who would live or die.
Is that with Bronze Tiger and who else was in that crap?
Your guess is...
Yeah, but Bronze Tiger and Boomerang and those guys, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much right. That's pretty much
know nothing. So, and with that, we're going to close this out. Thank you to my co-host tonight, the very gone Tim Dog 98. You can find him at that Twitter address. You can also find him at the KLIQ Nation and also at CB Cron on Twitter. You can also find him at the KLIQ Nation website, which is all of where the Comic Book Chronicles posts go and all that good jazz. You can also find him writing pretty much for almost anybody and everybody nowadays.
Nerdist,
yeah,
CBR.
Nerdist, CBR, and whomever else. No, Tim's everywhere. To go click on his stuff. Go check him out. Agent_70. Thank you, sir, for coming by. The sound effects man, but he does so much more. He's not just a sound effects man. Agent_70 on Twitter and Instagram. Anything else any sites you got coming up?
No.
Okay. Well, we need to get this up, man. At least do it. I don't know, maybe a toy site or something. Although you're kind of doing all right on Instagram, so go check him out. So you go check and see his
on the gram
toys that he gets. Yes, he's doing it for the gram, folks. Mr. Vaughn, thank you for coming by. What's up? No, go ahead. What's you got?
Don't forget his GoFundMe for the PS4.
Yeah.
Oh my God! If somebody actually started that, I'm a trip.
Don't hold it. Don't listen. Don't hold it. Don't think it's beyond that Matt Wang 97 from starting this. He would
totally do it. Yeah.
Academic purposes.
Exactly.
That's right.
Mr. Von Gloom, thank you for coming by, sir. You got anything you want to plug? I know you're doing you're still doing your articles for the KLIQ Nation.
Yeah. Like was it prescriptions from Dr. Von Gloom or something like that?
Yeah, yes. So go check them out on they get tweeted out on the CB Chron.
Like every Monday around that time.
Yeah, go check them out. It's good stuff. But you got anything else you want to plug?
No, that's it.
So that all right, cool. Thank you for coming by. You're always welcome here, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, it's always good times.
And get Agent 70 a PS4. Do it.
And also not here with us, PC_Dirt, who is enjoying his Nala. Goodness, probably getting drunk. We don't know. But you can check him out at PC_Dirt on Twitter. You can also check him out at Pop Culture Net on Twitter. Also popculturenetwork.com, where all of his podcasts and goodness goes. Go check him out. And also on the gram under Gram Comic Reviews, where he reviews comic books. If the name didn't explain itself already, go check him out there. And myself, Roddy Cat. You can find me at Roddy Cat and News Nerds Need on Twitter. You can also find me at CB Caps on Instagram. My comic book panel, Gram. There's going to be a couple of good ones coming out in the next few hours, hopefully. I got my site back up, but I'm not going to plug it just yet because I haven't written too much on it right now. I'm just trying to get it back up and running. Let's see. CSPN, that is the place where this podcast and other fine podcasts are. So go check them out at cspn.us. Also help us out by going to shop.cspn.us. Help out a network trying to do some things. Also, I'm missing the fact that this podcast you can find on Google Play, iTunes, and pretty much other places where podcasts can be consumed. Go check us out there, and also on the information cspn.us, where we come live to you every Thursday night, 9-ish p.m., and the audio comes out Friday morning and also on Monday morning, where it's on thekliqnation.com. And with that, fellow babies,
shout out to @ManWang97 who posted his favorite Suicide Squad lineup on Twitter just now.
Oh, nice.
So
you
go
want to read it off real quick, or
no, I want to get ready to
just. Yeah, well, go ahead. Matt Wang 97. Shout out to him. Go check out his Twitter feed right at this point. Or if you've seen this later, then sorry.
Yeah.
And with that, folks, this is the KLIQ Nation's Comic Book Chronicles, and we are out.
Hey!
Stay classy.
Kicking flat, but flavor bit of batter, chitter chatter, matter than the mad hat. I bet you.
Would you believe it's Dr. Doom?
What's on your evil mind?
Oh, you insulting tongue and mock my words well.
How about this rumor that you are really hired